everyone, this is Garrett, and this is Painkiller, and we are about to do level 2 of chapter 4, the Palace. And here we are. This level is a bit of an odd one, and honestly I don't really like it all that much, which is rather unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? The way to get the tarot card in this mission is by beating the level without collecting any armor at all, which is a little bit annoying. There is a lot of health on this level though, but there are also quite a lot of enemies in this place as well, so there is definitely a lot to look out for. Also our ammo, while we have a decent amount, I actually kind of prefer to just use the secondary fire of the Painkiller right now for the most part on these little dudes, because it seems to work ever so slightly better than using the shotgun, just because even if you miss, you can still just kill them with the laser, because they have virtually no health at all, which makes it just a little bit easier in my opinion than trying to hit them in that particular area with the shotgun. Also, there's actually quite a lot of shurikens in this level, so this gun actually works reasonably well just because of the fact that there's so much ammo for this gun just everywhere. And the reason why I don't really like this level is because every battle in this level just drags on for way too long, in my opinion. There's just a lot of stuff like this where you're just fighting enemies and waiting for them to spawn, and needing to go to the right areas just to make sure that every single enemy is dead. But as you'll see in a couple of upcoming battles, there's just going to be a lot of waiting for enemies to spawn, and it's just not very exciting because all the enemies die pretty quickly as well. So it's just kind of like, but what are you gonna do? Now, there are a couple things you actually do need to look out for, one of which is all this lovely ammo over here. But more importantly, there's some barrels over there. If you shoot those barrels with enough force, some of them will just fly straight up into the air. And those were the wrong ones. And apparently none of them do. But sometimes when you shoot those, they just fly up straight into the air and then come crashing down and just explode on top of you. So you have to make sure not to accidentally get hit by that, because it's very easy to shoot a barrel and then just going, well, I shot it, it should be gone now, and then it just lands right on your face and you just die instantly, which is rather tedious. Also, there's these guys, which I don't think we've encountered before. They have large shields. You can't just shoot them like this. They do die pretty quickly, but their shield is actually quite strong. These guys just sort of try to hit you with their swords, and they're generally pretty ineffective, but you do still need to watch out for them. But those dudes with the shields are actually kind of annoying to deal with sometimes when they're actually really far away, like that one over there, just because the shield is pretty good at blocking your state gun. So you kind of need to either just jump straight towards them, which is something we're gonna have to do anyway in a minute, or you could just be lazy and try to shoot them from a distance, but it is just a little bit tricky to do so. You can also just try to kill them with explosives, because their shield is good, but they do die if you just shoot a couple of rockets in their direction, so it's not like they're invulnerable or anything, but they can be a little bit scared to deal with. Also, we don't have a lot of ammo right now, so I'm just going to switch to this gun. I guess the minigun would probably work against those guys reasonably well as well, just as long as you try to aim for the person behind the shield rather than the shield itself. And of course, demon mode works pretty well as well, and given that we've already killed 71 enemies, there are definitely enough enemies to get into demon mode at this particular moment in time. It's just something that's not entirely, it's just a little bit overkill in that sense again, so it's like, I don't really feel like it. Not really getting any of these barrels flying straight upwards, which I've had in some of the practice sessions for this level several times. There we go. That's what I mean. That's what you need to look out for. And you see it go straight up into the air and then explode, and then there's just a bunch of fire over here as well, which will damage you as well. There's a lot of scary stuff going on, and it's generally not very nice to be in. You don't really want to be in fire. It's not the best place to be. And I'm just sort of jumping around and killing stuff. I'm just sort of waiting for the last enemy to appear. And there's also plenty of ammo boxes to pick up while we're doing all this battling as well, so it's not like we have nothing to do here. But there are still enemies that are just still spawning all over the place. I'm just gonna get up here and try to kill the dude with the shield over there. You can actually freeze them by shooting their shield, but their shield will still work, which is rather annoying. Like, I can just shoot them now and nothing will happen. If I get behind them, they will die instantly, so it is actually pretty useful to just freeze them and then just jump behind them like that. But sometimes they're just way too high, and then it becomes rather impossible, but it is a pretty easy way of dealing with these particular ones. And even more of these ninjas spawn after killing those couple of guys, but only like 3 of them, and now we're just stuck back and waiting again. That guy is in a rather unfortunate location, and that's not gonna work, so let's see if we can just kill him like this. Yeah, there we go. We'll get there in the end. It just takes a little bit longer. And some more ninja. Like this, I feel like this battle should have been over now, but we're still just fighting the same ninjas just over and over again, and it's just a little bit eh. It's just a little bit eh. Also, I'm trying to get on top of this. There we go, because there is actually a secret area on one of these particular platforms. I believe it's over here, but I'm not 100% sure. You'll see a treasure chest on top of the thing I want to jump on top of. There we go. Whoop. And secret area number 1. That's just a bunch of money. Nothing really too interesting, but money's money, and money's always nice to have in the end, so definitely worth getting if you are lacking money, which is pretty unlikely considering there's so much money everywhere. But yeah, killing the shield dudes will spawn just a couple more enemies, and I'm guessing this should be the end. There we go. Finally, we have actually killed everything in the second area. The first area was a little bit quicker, and it probably won't take too long if you just immediately focus on all the guys with the shields. But at the same time, it might still just take quite a while, really, because it is kind of tricky to focus on the shield dudes while you're fighting these guys as well. Also, there's fireworks. I'm not really sure if these can damage you at all. I've never gotten hit by those at all, but they do look really cool, and that's really all that matters. Also, something else that matters is that there is a 100 health power-up over there. I'll pick that up in a second. I'm actually going to try to get into demon mode here, because why not? And there's a bunch of shield dudes just all over the place. And there's also that fountain in the middle, and it actually drops down these explosions every now and then. It's rather annoying. It's not nice at all. You don't want to get hit by those. And we're in demon mode, so I'm just quickly going to try to take care of these shield dudes. That guy. All these dudes that are just walking down the stairs. This is also an area that's going to take quite a while to get through, just because there's just that many enemies. Small little skeleton guys and just a bunch of ninjas. A lot of them are coming from upstairs here as well. And I'm just not 100% sure what causes the next batch of enemies to spawn. I don't know if it's like killing a certain amount of enemies. I don't know if it's killing specific enemies here. But either way, without that knowledge, you're just going to be here for a while shooting ninjas with a shotgun or a machine gun or with a large amount of shurikens, which we actually are maxed out on right now, so you might as well use some of these. Still probably prefer to use Painkiller on these guys, but I just kind of felt like using shurikens for a change because we don't really use them that often. But this does feel a little bit more effective just because missing will have a little bit less of an effect in terms of what happens afterwards, because they will just die even if you, as long as you just have the laser in between you. Of course, you get the laser by pointing your crosshair at the projectile that you've shot onto the floor. If you look away from the projectile, then you won't see the laser either, which will make it a little bit useless because those things are actually kind of hard to hit with the actual normal attack with the Painkiller. Mostly because I'm just not 100% sure where the hitbox is. And of course the rocket launcher works pretty well against these guys because they just die instantly. Just blow up into a million pieces, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, the compass at the top of the screen does tell me when there's enemies behind me as well. And everything is pretty easy peasy. And we've got nothing to worry about. As long as we have ammo, which we do. And everything is a-okay. It's just gonna take a while. There is actually quite a lot of ammo all over this place as well. I think I'm actually going to grab some of the stuff that we haven't picked up yet, because there is actually a fair amount of stuff upstairs these places. There's a bunch of ammo boxes, which is always useful to have, as you can probably imagine. Bunch of shotgun ammo right here, which we were getting a little bit low on, so it's nice to pick that up right now. And some enemies spawn here as well, so might as well get close to the spawning areas while we're at it. This is a dead end, so we have to go back again, but there was a box of exploding stuff, and I do like my stuff to be very explosive at all times, so it is nice to pick that up right now. Try not to get hit by things as we're going back, like that guy, but of course there is still that 100 health power-up, which we still haven't picked up for some unknown reason. I should have probably picked it up at some point, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter too much. The only thing you really need to worry about in this level is not picking up armor power-ups if you're going for the tarot card, but other than that, you're pretty much good to go. Like, look at the amount of shurikens here as well. Like, we're pretty much all the time we're at roughly 200 or more, which is pretty great. I'm guessing, oh god, I'm guessing one of those lava things hit one of the fireworks there, which was a little bit scarier than I had anticipated. Whole bunch of freeze ammo over here for the shotgun as well, which is very nice to have because there is a fair amount of large enemies in this level as well, and being able to freeze them and then just instantly kill them that way makes life ever so slightly nicer, and therefore it's worth it. And there is some more stuff upstairs there, but I don't really feel like getting it, so I'm just actually going to grab this and move on because I think we're good to go, to be perfectly honest. Even more firework going on, but the door closes behind us, so we've got nothing more to worry about. A bunch of treasure chests, which is always good. Sadly, they contain enemies as well, but that's fine because they also contain money, and that's all I really care about in this instance. So, all is good and all is well. Which brings us to this area. There's a health power-up over there. More on that later. These things are more annoying. They're towers that shoot projectiles, and I'm actually going to take care of these first because they can actually get a little bit annoying. They shoot in just 4 directions, so as long as you're just diagonally away from them, they won't actually hurt you, and they actually drop quite a bunch of money as well when you destroy them. But I like to take care of those first because they can get a little bit in the way, and it can be a little bit scary if you're just running around and suddenly you get hit by a projectile from one of those towers. It's just a bit unfortunate when that happens, so I'd rather that doesn't happen, and instead we can just happily jump around all over the place without getting hit by these guys' crossbows, because as you can see, they have crossbows, and they are shooting quite a lot of stuff at me right now. And I don't really want to get hit by any of that. I'm actually going to go into demon mode here because there's big dudes here, and I don't really want to deal with those guys. Thinking about it, I actually want that guy to fall down and give me his soul so I can destroy them with the power of demonity. That's probably a word, isn't it? Can you please turn into a soul? I think these guys can do something weird with the corpses of enemies as well, which is why this guy is not turning into a soul like he usually will. There we go. Like these big dudes with the axes, I know they can do something with the corpses. I don't actually remember what it is, but I remember it being annoying. And, well, for one thing, they stop the enemies from turning into just their green soul counterparts immediately, which is annoying enough as it is, really. So, preferably, to take care of those guys as quickly as possible. And they also drop a whole bunch of health, so we probably should have picked that up, but at the same time, our health is looking pretty good as it is, so it's not too much of a problem. Another armor power-up over there. If you're not going for the tarot card, you might as well get it, but I prefer getting it. Or not get it. I prefer getting the tarot card, obviously, because that's kind of what this whole playthrough is about. Getting a lot of tarot cards and jumping around a lot. So, health power up. I have not picked it up yet, and it is not a fun one at all. It's actually kind of stupid, and I'm not 100% sure how it works, but this is probably going to be the land of video editing because there's a couple ladders here. I think there's one over there as well. You can jump all the way around those windows, and then you just sort of get stuck there because I've never managed to jump from there to that platform. It probably is possible, considering I'm going to jump from here and jump onto that platform instead, which seems a little bit easier. In any case, you only have to climb the ladder once and then just jump to one window, which is over here. And this is the point where I'm going to quick save, because sometimes you just jump really far forwards and other times you just don't make it at all. So let's see what happens this time. That was roughly what I expected. So I'm just going to video edit my way to the part where that actually goes right, because honestly, it wouldn't be very interesting to watch. There we go. That didn't take that long, because, yeah, I mean, look at the amount of time the video it's been playing so far, and yeah, the gameplay time is roughly the same right now, right? And that's with loading and saving the game every now and then. But yeah, that was part 1 of this secret. Part 2 is getting on that rooftop. That was a little bit easier, and from there, we just jump on here. We have an extra 100 health, although a little bit less because 250 is actually the limit right now. And with that, we can move on. Except not really, because I didn't plan for that secret to take that long to get. So I'm actually just going to jump around for a little while collecting ammo, and then I'm going to save the game, and then video edit to the next time I'm actually playing the game, and none of you will notice because it will be a completely seamless edit of the video, and it will seem like I just never actually stopped playing at all at any point in time. Seamless transition. Alright, now we continue onwards through the door and we break a bunch of pots because these pots have violated us in ways you probably can't even imagine, so we need to destroy all of them along with their little skeleton friends. That one's actually quite large. Not really sure why that one's that big, but it's not of any real importance because all we need to worry about is that they end up dead. Unfortunately, our Painkiller is actually pretty good at doing that when I can't be bothered to use guns because we're just so very stocked up on ammo right now that I don't feel like giving it away to them. They don't deserve it very much. Another 100 health over there. This place is kind of cool actually because you can break these pillars down and it looks pretty neat. Because in how many games do you actually have destructible terrain? Well, I guess there's a couple. Even like back then. I don't know if Red Faction had come out at that point. But anyway, there's destructible things and you can break down those things and then you don't have to worry about the shield dudes as much because they're actually all the way down here and you can just shoot them with missiles. Which don't always work, but for the most part, they do a reasonable job. Let's get rid of these guys with our trusty tertiary fire. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but I'm just going to call it tertiary because it will inevitably make someone mad. And then I can giggle a little bit because I'm a dirty foreigner. And while I am indeed that, I'm just going to make sure not to get barrels falling on my face and kill off a whole bunch of shield dudes. This might actually... on the one hand, this is like an okay place to use tarot cards. On the other hand, it kinda isn't unless you don't have like the slowdown tarot card because you're still just waiting for enemies to spawn all the time, and it's just, if you slow down the world like 4 times as much, then you're gonna be waiting for a long time. It wouldn't be very much fun. But maybe a combination of like extra damage, maybe even the speed one or just the no damage one, along with the tarot cards lasting 10 or 20 seconds longer. I think it's 10 seconds. Like that would probably actually work pretty well at this particular area because you do a lot of extra damage to the shield guys and you wouldn't take any damage and you wouldn't have to worry about this nonsense right here. And the enemies wouldn't spawn as slow as they would if you'd slow down the time, which, thinking about it, maybe I should probably choose a different combination of tarot cards at some point, but at the same time, I am a little bit lazy and I do like the slowdown effect, so if you like a slowdown effect, then it probably isn't a good idea to switch it out, now is it? That would just be silly. Let's use some wooden stakes on an enemy that's virtually impossible to hit with it. That was probably the worst idea I've ever had. I'm gonna give up on that idea. In fact, let's just use this actually. This will probably work reasonable. It does cost a lot of ammo, but at the same time, it does the job, and that's all I really care about. That guy is in a really awkward location to actually hit at all, but fortunately we barely had enough ammo, and all was well. And this brings us to another secret area, which is actually kind of annoying. You can see a jump pad over there. There's some holes over there. We're gonna use that jump pad to go through the holes over there. My strategy for this is jumping back and forth until I accidentally do that. That was reasonably fast, actually. Now, you don't want to destroy this barrel. This barrel is actually quite helpful in getting us up here. And you can already see the holy item waiting for us up there. And we're just going to jump there. And that is all there really is up here. Probably shouldn't actually have picked up that health power-up yet because we're probably going to take some damage. Just going to destroy that barrel for good measure, even though we really don't need to. Oh, we didn't actually even take damage from that, so all is well in the world. We didn't have to worry after all. Some more stakes, because why not get a large amount of ammo for a weapon we're barely ever going to use anymore, because the shotgun is that much more, well, better, purely. It's just a lot better to use in this particular situation. And this brings us to the last area of the level, pretty much. This is where the remaining part of the level takes place, and where there is a damage power-up waiting for us here. I'm not sure if I want to pick this up now, but at the same time, I don't really remember what is coming up because I did a lot of practice for this level. This level, like, I didn't really prepare it as much as some of the other levels just because I just don't like it very much. It just, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about this level which I just don't find very interesting at all. Mostly, I guess, because you just spend a little bit longer just in every single area than seems necessary. There's a lot of enemies here, and people do like to kill a lot of enemies, and you know, the fact that you can't pick up armor does make it a little bit more difficult, but at the same time, it is... I just don't find these enemies very interesting, I guess. I mean, it is a little bit more tricky with these guys because their crossbows are actually pretty good at hitting you. They don't really deal a whole bunch of damage, but at the same time, there is quite a lot of them, and if you get hit enough, like, it does add up as per usual. And this would be a problem if there weren't so many 100 health power-ups in the level. And there kinda are. There are a lot of those. There are a very large amount of those, and as such you just sort of jump around without having to worry about anything. Because of the huge amount of enemies that are here, if you just don't take damage for, well, most of it really, then you're gonna get enough health from all these souls. So it's like, whatevs. I don't care about your damage. I'm just gonna get all my health back from all you guys because you're pretty much all melee enemies, except for the occasional crossbow dude with shield, who, if you just jump around a lot, will actually have some trouble hitting you. There are some bigger dudes with axes, I believe, right here, so it's nice that we got demon mode when we did, because it makes that area just a little bit easier. And I was kind of hoping for that as well, because those were actually the only enemies that I did remember. And we're out of shotgun shells, which is rather unfortunate, but at the same time, we got so many shurikens and minigun ammo that at the same time we just don't really have much to worry about here, do we? Not especially. I think we should be nearing the end here. This is like the part where we're just waiting for enemies to spawn, as you can see, and just take them down. Not especially difficult right there. I believe there's some ammo up here as well in case you are actually running out, so there's definitely ammo aplenty, including even more shock ammo, so we could just use that shuriken gun for pretty much all the remaining enemies in the game if we wanted to. In fact, we might actually do that. And when I say the game, I obviously mean the level, but you know what I mean. Actually, this might be pretty useful because I was running low on explosives. Man, I can't even pick that up. Ah, there we go. I was looking for that. Was hoping that there would be some more shotgun ammo just in case I change my mind on using this thing, because it is a little bit awkward to use sometimes, but it's fine, really. I don't think we're gonna have any issues when it comes to ammo at this point. But jump our way up. You can destroy those vases, urns, pots, whatever they may be. They'll have some money in it. I don't really care right now because our money is, quite frankly, ridiculous, and we should definitely be fine. And kill everything up here, really. There's a fair amount of enemies here. A lot of those little skeleton dudes, which is a little bit of an issue, but at the same time, they die pretty quickly with the magic of electricity. I think I may have accidentally hit that shot into one of the enemies. I'm not really sure how effective it is when you hit an enemy with it rather than the floor, because it obviously seems a lot more effective if you hit the floor. I'm actually just going to try that out right now. No, that does still work pretty well. If you just hit the enemy, it still killed everyone here, so it doesn't really seem to matter too much where you shoot the actual bullet right there. But at the same time, if you shoot on the floor, then it is a little bit more guaranteed that the guy won't move around ever so slightly and mess up a potential hit right there. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because all these guys are pretty easy to take care of. I'm just gonna shock everyone to death because it's something we haven't really done that much in this playthrough, and these guys are pretty easy to hit with this gun right now, so why not do that? And then we're just gonna jump up this corridor for about 20 more minutes until everything is dead, because that's how you make a video game. You plant a whole bunch of enemies and then you wait. Look at our health right now. Our health is 287. It seems a little bit ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. Just ever so slightly. Really? What? Where is the remaining enemy still spawning or something? It might be that we're just too far away for the enemy to be shown by the compass. There we go. I'm guessing he actually did just spawn because, yeah, he's spawning all the way over there, so... Yep, we're just waiting for things to spawn right now. It's not great, but not anything we can really do about it. There we go. The level exit has opened, but first we're actually gonna go in here because there is a holy item waiting for us. And I believe that's actually the last holy item of the level as well. There's only 2 in this level, so both Well, this one's not that hard to find because this area is disclosed, but it does look a little bit different from everything else in here. So it is sort of obvious. The other one you can see, but it's a little bit harder to get to because of that annoying jump pad. I'm not actually sure if you can just jump down here if you need to take the stairs down. I usually just take the stairs down because I don't think I ever actually managed to just jump down. It's just a matter of actually finding the staircase again, which is a little bit annoying. And there's the exit, and there's more. After a little laugh, it spawns these dudes. These dudes are kind of annoying. They don't really do a whole lot though, as long as you stay far away from them. And they do shoot rather nasty projectiles, so as long as you just stay away from them, there shouldn't be any issues. But of course, we got tarot cards. That ridiculizes us. Ridiculizes is now a word, and it instantly destroys everyone, so yeah. And his arm spazzes out a bit, which is something we can look at. I guess this is the leg, yeah. And then the level exit returns after a while. But I kind of want to keep looking at this leg. There we go. The leg is free. All is well. And these guys drop a fair amount of health as well, which doesn't really matter because the level exit is open. And that was that. 34 minutes. Most of that was spent trying to get one secret, unfortunately, but we got there in the end, and we did a whole bunch of stuff. And we beat the level without collecting any armor, which is really the most important part of it all. And there were still 50 ammo boxes we didn't pick up, so there's definitely enough ammo for this level. And we get Vitality. Increases base health capacity to 150. Pretty similar to another card we already had, which is that one, the initial health. Of course, it's written a little bit differently, which means that rather than having 150 at the start, but then losing it all and not being able to pick up health power-ups, with this one, you can pick up regular health power-ups to get it back up to 150 instead of 100, which is nice. I still prefer these because these two are just so much fun. Still not really anything else here I'd rather use, to be perfectly honest, and I am just going to leave it at that. So the next time we play, we are going to do Chapter 4, Level 3, Babel, or Babel, whatever you want to call it, and I'll leave that for next time. I'm just going to show you the card unlocking status, and you can just imagine how much fun I have when playing that level. But yeah, hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.